Hey, welcome back to Pivot Era. If you're here, you're probably in a season of movement. Maybe your role is shifting, your team is changing, or your priorities are quietly evolving. This podcast is your pause between transitions, the small space where we can notice what's actually happening underneath the surface of change. Today's reflection is called Ecosystem Energy for episode 12, and it's about how alignment in people, projects, and energy shapes how we experience change. There's a pattern I've been noticing, both in myself and in the organizations I've worked with. Whenever big change happens, a restructure, a new project, a leadership shift, the first question everyone asks is, how do we make this work? But the question we should ask is, who actually has the energy for this work? Because in change management theory, there's something called the emotional current of transformation. It's the idea that progress doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in waves of energy, excitement, resistance, fatigue, and renewal. Understanding that current, noticing where energy rises and falls, is the heart of managing change well. That's where my favorite small practice comes in. On big projects, at the end of every week, I draw 2 columns in my notebook, energized by and depleted by. Then I just list things. No overthinking, just honest noticing. Which meetings gave me clarity? Which conversations left me tired? Which people brought momentum? Which side projects made me feel stuck? When I step back and look at those lists, I can see my own change curve in real time. It's like emotional data, simple but deeply revealing. Here's where this connects to change theory. In models like ADKAR or Kotter's 8 steps, change isn't just about structure. It's about energy flow. People move through change based on how safe, seen, and supported they feel. And when that energy is ignored, resistance shows up as confusion, silence, or burnout. Your energized, depleted list is a micro version of that same idea. It helps you measure the unspoken energy of change before it becomes visible in results. When you see a pattern of depletion, it's not a failure. It's feedback. It's telling you where clarity or connection is missing. And when you see energy rising, that's a sign of alignment, a signal that something in your ecosystem is working. Now let's make it practical. Imagine you are part of a team working on a new change initiative, something that's meant to transform how your company works. In the early stages, there's energy everywhere. New ideas, brainstorming, excitement. But as weeks go by, things get murky. Timelines shift, roles blur, the why starts to fade. This is the moment where most change efforts start to lose momentum. But if as a leader or teammate, you're tuned into energy, you can feel it before you can see it. You notice meetings where cameras go off. You notice who speaks less. You notice yourself hesitating to start tasks that once felt exciting. That awareness is the first step toward realignment. So, you bring that data into the room. You might say, hey, I've been feeling a dip in our energy this week. Has anyone else noticed that? It sounds simple, but that kind of emotional transparency is leadership. It invites others to surface what's real. And that's when collaboration becomes honest again. Because change doesn't fail from lack of intelligence. It fails from lack of awareness. There's a principle in change theory called psychological safety. It's the foundation of any healthy ecosystem. The belief that you can speak up without fear of punishment. When you track your own energized, depleted patterns, you're not just managing your energy. You're modeling psychological safety. You're saying, it's okay to name what's heavy. It's okay to adjust the pace. And when teams learn to do that collectively, change stops feeling like something happening to them and starts feeling like something they're co-creating. Over time, this simple self-check transforms how you lead, because it reminds you that alignment isn't static. It's something you maintain, like emotional maintenance. It's about regularly asking, are we still moving with purpose or just out of habit? Are we still collaborating from curiosity or from fatigue? The answers change, and that's okay. That's how ecosystems stay alive. The older I get, the more experience I've banked, the more I realize alignment is a form of peace. You can't hustle your way into it. You can only notice it and nurture it. And when you curate your professional world around people who share your rhythm, projects stop feeling like survival. They start feeling like happy places. Let's put this into action. So maybe this week, as your calendar fills and change keeps unfolding, try making those 2 lists. Energized by, depleted by. Don't overthink it, just notice. And then ask, what would it look like to design my week around what actually gives me energy? Not out of comfort, but out of wisdom. Because sustainable change personal or organizational, always begins with awareness. Ecosystem energy isn't about perfection. It's about staying attuned to yourself, your team, your collective rhythm. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to stay awake to what's alive. That's leadership. That's alignment. That's the real work of change. Alignment isn't a destination, it's a rhythm. The more you notice your energy, the more clearly you can lead. That's all for now. If this episode resonated, follow Pivot Era, share it with someone navigating change at work, and take a few quiet minutes to notice your own energy, because awareness is how alignment begins. Until next time, I'm glad you're here, growing at your own rhythm, make it count. This is an AI voice-powered podcast shared by humans who simply want to connect across generations and normalize the art of starting again. New episodes drop every Wednesday and Sunday. Share it with someone who's navigating their own pivot or who needs to hear that beginnings aren't failures. They're growth.